Welcome back, guys, to another Captain Trucks podcast. Today, we're going to talk about Vai Sikahema. Does anyone know who he is? I'll pause for a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, a few seconds to let you guys comment below. And now, let's talk about Vai Sikahema. So, for those of you who got it correct, I'm not going to verify it until a couple minutes from now. So, Vai Sikahema, what should we say about him? He was a young man born in the Pacific Islands, and where he's from in the Pacific Islands, they didn't have a lot of running water, electricity, many of the conveniences that we have today, indoor plumbing. He didn't grow up with any of that stuff in Tonga, where he's from. He's from Tonga. And he is a very nice man. I actually got to meet him, and he was a really wonderful person to meet. Very kind, and a lot of Tongans I've heard are people. They love people. And the same can be said about Vai Sikahema. He seems like a people person. And a lot of people, when I met him, went up to meet him, like a couple of my friends got to meet him, and a few other people I know. A couple of my friends' parents. And I'm not going to name names here, but you guys know who you are if you've met him and stuff. A couple of my friends actually got to have dinner with him. Lucky people they are. I'm not going to name names, but hey, they're pretty lucky to have been able to have dinner with him. Anyway, Vai Sikahema was born in Tonga. And it's a small island in the Pacific, not the Atlantic. The Atlantic side goes to England. Pacific side goes to Hawaii. So it's one of the many Polynesian islands out there. I don't know if they would call themselves Polynesian, but I would guess they're Polynesian, because all the islands out there call themselves Polynesian. I think in a light sense of the word Polynesian. So, Vai Sikahema, when he was really young, his parents saved up a lot of money. Just like a lot of other people who were members of their church, and they decided to fly to New Zealand. And at this time, lots of Tongans who flew to New Zealand were only able to afford for one or two of their kids to come with them. And they hoped to be able to afford enough for another trip to bring their rest of their kids. So the reason why they were going from Tonga to New Zealand on this flight was because there was a new temple built in New Zealand. And if you've ever read The Other Side of Heaven by Coley Pokey or Elder John H. Groberg, same guy who wrote The Other Side of Heaven 1 He he was the mission president in Tonga at the time, and he was a big factor in helping their Tongan saints to go to the temple. But this video is not about him. We might make one about him later on, but this one's about Vai Sikahema. So Vai Sikahema, they get there, they go to the temple, and he remembers that everyone in the bus shifted from one side of the bus to the other, and it was quiet on the bus. So they could all see the temple and take in the beauty of the temple as they drove up to the New Zealand temple. It was the first time many of them had seen a temple, and he was able to be sealed to his parents there. The temple is a place to be sealed to your parents, and for a time in all eternity. But that's not really what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Vai Sikahema. So, Vai Sikahema's parents, they made enough money to bring him there with them, but they didn't have enough money to go back. So his dad got a job shearing sheep. Eventually they got enough money to go back to Tonga. And then eventually his parents decided, why not move to the United States? So they decided to move to the United States, and while they were living in the United States, Vai was being taught boxing and all sorts of stuff by his father. But his father ultimately had to take a back seat with the sports, because the sport that Vai picked up was football, American football. For those Spanish watchers who find this video. So, American football, or football for those of us in America. So, he lived in Arizona with his parents and played football in high school, and then he was really good, and he got picked to play football as a punt returner for the college. And I want you guys to do drum roll here. Drum roll. What college? BYU is the college that he decided to go to. And he played as a punt returner for them. And he became a really good punt returner. And because of that, he was picked up by the Arizona Cardinals. But at the time, they were the St. Louis Cardinals. I know that there's a St. Louis Cardinals baseball team, but for those people who are fans of the NFL and don't realize, the Arizona Cardinals moved a few times. They moved from St. Louis to one other place, and then to Arizona, to Glendale, where they are right now. And they drafted Vai Sikahema as a punt returner for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to just call them the Arizona Cardinals because that's what they are today, just so I can keep it straight in my head and not confuse people. So, just for the sake of it, we're going to call them the Arizona Cardinals. So, from there, he played for them for a few years, and then he was traded to, drumroll, what team did Aaron Rodgers come from? Green Bay Packers. And then he played for them for a few years, and then he went to play for the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the teams that was in our most recent Super Bowl, which the Kansas City Chiefs won. I was rooting for the Eagles in that one. Go Eagles! Fly, Eagles, fly! So, Eagles team, if you're hearing this, please support the channel, and maybe if you want, donate a little money. Just kidding. I don't need any. But, hey, you never know. Give me some free tickets if you want. But, he played for the Philadelphia Eagles for a few years. And then, eventually, he retired from that and went into broadcasting. And while he was in broadcasting, there was a player who was picked up by the Eagles. And I don't know what team he was on, but I believe it was Arizona that he was on at the time. But the kid that was picked up by the Eagles in this draft comes up to Vai Sikahema and he says, "Mr. Sikahema, do you remember me?" And Vai Sikahema's like, "No, I don't remember you. I'm the kid with the ruse." The ruse? The shoes? Oh, you're him? So he gave Barrett, I think Barrett Johnson is the guy's name, some ruse because he saw the kid without any good pair of shoes. And Barrett grew into them and eventually played in the NFL just like Vai Sikahema, who became his hero. And Vai Sikahema, he retired from broadcasting a few years ago. And he is currently serving as a member of the 70 in the LDS Church. And he goes around to state conferences and other kinds of things and talks in conferences about what the church wants people to hear and sometimes what he thinks he should share with the members in those areas. And he was actually just recently in my area. I got to meet him, and it was wonderful to meet Vai Sikahema. I'm glad I got to meet him. I'm never going to forget that day for the rest of my life. So, let me leave off with a little message to Vai Sikahema. Vai Sikahema, thank you for letting me take a picture with you and meeting you. You're a great guy. It was awesome to get to know you for a little bit. You're a great guy. Keep up the good work. And thank you for all you do. Alright. And now to finish the video. Elder Sikahema, as members of the church call him, when he goes to visit their state conferences and stuff. He is a great guy, friendly, caring. He cares about people. He shared a story. Let me tell you a funny story. So, before I sign off, I'm going to tell a story. Vi, if you ever hear this video, I hope you don't mind I share some of your stories that you shared. So, he was at his son's court of honor. His two oldest sons had gotten their Eagles, And Vai Sikahema never got to the rank of Eagle Scout. But for those of you who are Eagle Scouts, they always say, all Eagles, please come forward or please stand up or come to the front of the stage if you're at a church and there's a stage. So all Eagles go forward and get up there and they stand up there. And Vai Sikahema, he's all kind of annoyed that he never gets to go up there. They say, all Eagles, please come forward. And he's like, sitting there, and he's like, dang, I wish I could go up there. And he's like, wait, Eagles? I'm an Eagle. So he decides to go up there. His two older sons who've already gotten their Eagle Scouts look at him, and they're like, what are you doing? You're not an Eagle Scout. And he's like, they only said all Eagles come up, not Eagle Scouts. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm a Philadelphia Eagle. So I think I'm going to leave you guys with that story, and I will sign off for now. Until the next video, enjoy. Everyone, please stay safe. Please stay well, or as well as you can. And for those of you in school, good luck with the final couple weeks of school. And good luck with your Regents exams and stuff that you have, if you have exams. And I hope you guys pass and start having a great summer. So this is Captain Trox signing off. But before I do, one last thing. I want to give a shout out to the YouTube channel More J Stew and the podcast by Chris Heimerdinger, which is a new one that he has. I don't know the name of it, but I'm going to say Chris Heimerdinger's new podcast and More J Stew, and always with a warm shout out to my Star Wars co-host, Chief Rat Jake. I will see you guys in another video.